Welcome to this presentation on Nevada's Pupil-Centered Funding Plan. This information was developed in partnership with the Nevada Department of Education, WestEd, and Augenblick, Palick and Associates. This is the third video in the series. Other topics include an overview of the PCFP, PCFP details and calculation, allowable uses of PCFP funds, and coordinating PCFP funds with other state and federal sources. Section 3. Revenues for Education. In this section, we'll review how revenues for education are collected. The State Education Fund is the primary fund for public education in Nevada. To support transparency, previously available state and local revenues, including state categorical funding, are now combined into the State Education Fund and redistributed through the PCFP. Revenues to fund the State Education Fund include local support tax, the general fund, property tax, and other state and local taxes and fees, including net proceeds of minerals, both state and local, gold and silver tax, governmental services tax, recreational marijuana tax, local school support tax, annual slot tax, room and property tax, Federal Mineral Leasing Act tax, franchise fees, proceeds from forfeited properties, fines, interest distributions, and others. In addition to the State Education Fund, there is a second available account to the PCFP. The fund is in the Education Stabilization Account, come from the following sources: school districts with an ending fund balance greater than 16.6% of total budgeted expenditures, and unexpended money in the State Education Fund at the end of each fiscal year, unless otherwise excluded. The State Education Fund allocates PCFP and other education funds to school districts. Any unexpended funds in the State Education Fund due to less than projected enrollment or greater than projected revenues are allocated back to the Education Stabilization Account. Any school district fund balances above 16.6% more than the total expenditures are also sent back to the Education Stabilization Account. The Education Stabilization Account is only to be utilized under the following conditions. Revenue collected in the State Education Account is 97% or less than the authorized amount, or the balance exceeds 15% of the appropriations authorized in the State Education Fund. Watch our next section in this series for information on the allowable use of PCFP funds, including requirements and allowable uses for the adjusted base and weighted funds.